It's January 14th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today in the Treasury Titans. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but I will say the Treasury Titan part of this title is starting to bear fruit. And speaking of fruits, how about an orange? As Michael Saylor says, eat real food. And of course, what we translate that is accumulate real money, accumulate real wealth, accumulate the pristine capital in the world, which is Bitcoin, which of course nobody's doing better and faster than strategy themselves. So big kudos to Michael Saylor and the team there. We've been having some fun. Listen, we've obviously been having a pretty flat, crabby market for some time now. We've suffered through it. Had a little bit of a 5% breakout to the upside. Nothing to get ecstatic about, but we always do like seeing green charts up and to the right. Only time will tell where we're going from here. But, let's celebrate the small wins. Let's celebrate the big wins because as you can see right here in this chart, a little crabby, little bump, back to crabby, little bump, back to crabby, and then a little bit of a breakout. And again, we're up about 5% over the past 5 days. If we go over to the 1 month, it looks like a pretty solid trend as well. But again, all it takes is one tweet, is one post, is one global event to change things, both to the upside or the downside. So time will tell. And of course, MSTR has benefited from that. We had a big day, up 6%, even more so in the after hours, looking like we're pre-market at $176 right now. So that's looking pretty solid. And I will say that our friends over at Metaplanet are looking pretty good as well, up 11% over the past 5 days. But what's even kind of more exciting about that is you can look right here in related, and Metaplanet is actually up 14.5% in Japan, which translates to a big day for Metaplanet MTPLF here in the States. So looking forward to probably doubling this return, being up over 20% when you combine today and the last 5 days. But again, only time will tell. We'll see how it goes. And just want to celebrate the wins as we acknowledge the losses going forward. And Ron has a good post about how every $1.45 that Bitcoin goes up, MSTR adds $1 million in equity. I mean, just think about that. It's insanity. Bitcoin, pumps $50, $100, $1,000 every second, every minute, every hour. I mean, it's just flying up and down. Every $1.45 that Bitcoin goes up, MSTR is adding $1 million in equity. I mean, just picture the next face melting rally, how much that's going to translate to market cap wise for MSTR. Insane times. Strategy Maxi says Stretch is accelerating, gobbled up an estimated 1,800 Bitcoin today. Of course, that was about 800 via Stretch, and then estimating around 1,000 Bitcoin if Saylor was hitting the ATM for the common, which he probably was. And then Strategy Maxi goes on to say, like I said, the longer we stay at par, the more volume, more Bitcoin. Are you listening to me? Cannot be more bullish right now. And he's showing, the Stretch volume of what's been happening. It's been absolutely insane. Really exciting stuff. So all I can say is look out above. We've got some good things going on, and that is just a fact. Ragnar says another epic day for strategy. Stretch ended the day up with a total volume of 174 million, which means another 800 Bitcoin were purchased without any common stock dilution. So, I mean, let's just take a step back here. That means Michael Saylor just added 800 Bitcoin to Strategy's treasury chest, which for you and me, the MSTR shareholders, is just pure addition value. Period. End of day, non-dilution. Now, MSTR is up 6.63%, so I'm sure the common ATM was running at full speed too. My guess is that Strategy purchased up to 4,000 Bitcoin in total. Bitcoin is at 94,300, onwards and upwards. And of course, now Bitcoin's over 95,000 at the time of this recording. James Van Stratton says, since the halving of April 2024, Bitcoin mined per day is 450 times 663 days, which is how many days it's been since April 2024. That equals 284,850 Bitcoin. Strategy has acquired 473,000 Bitcoin since the halving. So MSTR is currently acquiring 1.66 times the daily Bitcoin mined supply. Absolute insanity. Strategy Maxi says, Repricing as people realize MSTR is a digital credit company. Stretch is the company's cash flow. How would you value a company generating tens of billions of cash flow annually right now? I am excited for MSTR. That's like one of the Bears' biggest complaints. They say, what is the product? What is the cash flow? What does it do? It has the best product probably in the world. It is offering an 11% annual yield paid out monthly. That's massive. And everybody wants that product. And then what Saylor does is take people that buy that product and he buys Bitcoin with it. Cash flow, 30% CAGR. Strategy Inc., 167.01 at the time. And of course, it kept going up from there as well, as we both know. Hugh says, Saylor is going to be the richest man in the world by an order of magnitude. And Jeremy says, never catch Musk. Well, time will tell. I mean, it all depends on how Bitcoin does, period. Ragnar says, Metaplanet closed up 14.58% in Tokyo, surpassing 600 yen for the first time since early October. It reached 626 yen intraday, which is just 11 yen away from restarting their ATM at 637. MNAV at 1.36 and Bitcoin at 95,000. We're so effing back. And what a beautiful chart this looks like. I mean, me. Now, I will say, for those of you that aren't quite aware, and again, we'll get more details on this after we actually hit this mark, so we'll go over the mechanics. But once Metaplanet crosses 637 yen, they can restart their ATM using their specific method of warrants and strikes and all these different things that they have. But that's very effective, by the way, to start acquiring more Bitcoin on a daily basis. So that's a big number. We're looking forward to that and looking forward to some great future posts by Metaplanet of massive Bitcoin acquisitions, especially once that gets going, Mercury gets going, Mars gets going. All exciting times. Chris says, if anyone ever asks you why you want to own Strategy as well as, or instead of alternative to Bitcoin investment vehicles, show them this. The largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. Strategy is orders of magnitude larger than any other corporate holder of Bitcoin, offering exposure at a scale that no other company can match. Generates yield. Strategy generates Bitcoin yield by issuing digital credit and redeploying that capital into Bitcoin at highly accretive levels, increasing Bitcoin per share over time. Infinite optionality. I love the word optionality. You give Michael Saylor optionality, watch out. Strategy's Bitcoin is permanent capital, giving it effectively unlimited optionality to create product services and recurring cash flow streams. No fees. Strategy provides indirect Bitcoin exposure without ongoing management fees, unlike ETFs, trusts, or actively managed funds. Global gateway. Strategy provides a regulated gateway to Bitcoin and enables investors who face structural or regulatory barriers or who prefer a more tax-efficient route to gain exposure. Deep liquidity. Strategy's equity trades with significant volume, allowing large investors to buy and sell with minimal price impact. Deep options market. Strategy has a deep options market thanks to high volatility, strong correlation with Bitcoin, and heavy institutional interest. Index inclusion. Strategies included in major equity indexes, benefiting from persistent passive inflows from index funds and ETFs. Brand recognition. Strategy is globally recognized to the institutional face of Bitcoin adoption, commanding outsized attention, credibility, and investor trust. Credit advantage. Strategy's credit instruments are over-collateralized by Bitcoin, allowing the company to raise capital on more favorable terms. Boom. Look at all these greens, and these just can't compete. Now we have a great clip from Michael Saylor back to the heated debate on what Bitcoin did when we get back from thanking our sponsors. Michael Saylor just made an $835 million bet buying the Bitcoin dip. Right now, Bitcoin's fallen almost 40% off its October high, and the big money is buying the dip. What's your strategy? Now might be a great time to convert your IRA or 401k to Bitcoin with the help of Bit IRA. Plus, you can fund it with pre-tax funds, then continue to invest in it over time as you do any other retirement account. Bit IRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the U.S. government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Bitcoin has proven time and time again to rebound, every cycle going from a higher low to a higher high. With Strategy's latest purchase, Michael Saylor clearly believes Bitcoin is at a discount. Time for you to get into. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin. When you want more for your business, start with Northwest Registered Agent and get access to thousands of free guides, tools, and legal forms to help you launch and protect your business all in one place. Build your complete business identity with Northwest today. Your business identity is more than your logo or website. It's everything that defines who you are and how you operate, from what your customers see to what they don't, like operating agreements, meeting minutes, and compliance paperwork. With Northwest, you'll get more for your business, more privacy, more guidance, and more free resources than you'll find anywhere else. For nearly 30 years, Northwest Registered Agent has helped entrepreneurs form, grow, and protect their businesses. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in America, powered by over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know the local laws and can help you every step of the way. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free.
And so I give you the gift of clean, invisible, efficient energy that revolutionizes the world. And it still takes 30 years before 70% of the people agree with you. Okay, so Bitcoin is digital energy, it's digital capital, it's the basis of digital credit, it's the basis of digital money. It's developing very rapidly. We're making great inroads. You know, you're like, well, the 4-year cycle is dead. Well, the irony is the people that are saying that haven't waited 4 years. Like, we've only been 95 days since the peak of the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how about, I think that if you actually assess Bitcoin's performance on a rolling 4-year moving average, you see a progression that looks pretty bullish. I think 2026 is going to be a great year for Bitcoin, but I think that you shouldn't be roped into trying to forecast what is the price in 90 days or the price in 180 days. It's kind of like saying, well, 6% of the factories in Detroit have electricity. Well, what percentage of the factories will have electricity in 12 months? Well, you're wrong, and therefore electricity is awful. It's like, Jesus Christ, it took 30 years for people to embrace the most obvious invention in the world.
Yeah.
And the same goes with radio, the same goes with, with television, the same goes with, I mean, I think the greatest and most amazing thing of our lifetime, Danny, is probably the most profound technology invention of the 20th century was nuclear power. Like, here's a reactor, it generates a gigawatt of energy, and it does it without any obvious emissions. It's like unlimited clean energy. And that was a gift to humanity. And in 1973, we turned it all off. Like, in 1973, the United States decided that they were afraid of nuclear power.
Which is totally insane. It's one of the safest as well.
Well, we can't really trace a death in the United States to nuclear power, but we can trace hundreds of thousands of deaths a year to coal or to fossil fuels or to pollution. And the same people that turned off nuclear power, they embraced wood-burning stoves and coal and every type of fossil fuel, and they embraced wars in the Middle East, and they embraced, every alternative, everything imaginable, rather than turn on unlimited free clean energy because a successful marketing campaign convinced them that it was scary and dangerous. We literally saw millions, if not tens of millions of people die in wars fighting over alternatives to nuclear energy. And we saw tens of millions of people die of pollution from alternatives to nuclear energy. And then the population of Germany turns off all their, nuclear power plants.
I think The Simpsons scared everyone.
Yeah. And so I think you have to reason from first principles. And I guess my message is, people all of a sudden discovered that nuclear power plants aren't a bad idea when they needed unlimited electricity for AI.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it just flipped after 50 years of skepticism. We flipped to, oh, nuclear's cool again. Because when Apple and Google and Meta and Facebook and Amazon needed nuclear and OpenAI needed nuclear, like, okay, I guess we like it now. It literally was like overnight. If you were to trace that debate, we went from 50 years of skepticism and cynicism to massive enthusiasm because people realized that they needed electricity and they needed a lot of electricity. And so if humanity can fight through 50 years of nuclear skepticism to come out of that, then I think that 94 days of Bitcoin skepticism is not something that we ought to be that skeptical about. I mean, the bottom line is after 10 years of not doing nuclear, right? The nuclear power plant had the nuclear winter, right? The nuclear bear market went from 1973 to 2023. It's 50 years. That was the bear market. And I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, I remember talking to a bunch of power companies in 2021, just after the lockdowns, during the COVID crisis, and energy usage sagged. They were literally all in the process of decommissioning all the nuclear power plants they operated. Half the nuclear power plants in the US, the people wanted to decommission them. They were going to decommission the Diablo Canyon power plant in California. They were all bragging about it, like, oh, we don't need these things. And that was literally 4 years ago.
That's crazy.
What's the second best? There is no second best.